Hi Taurus, welcome to your end of May 2018 tarot reading. It's Rena. Just been shuffling the cards. I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot deck for a little change of pace. So here we go. Okay, let me just collect these so I can have them out of the way. Okay. And hopefully this train will be a quick train. Not like a 10-minute train. I think it will. Okay. So, the heart of the matter is represented by the Seven of Pentacles. And I need to find out if there's a correspondence between Taurus and this card. Because I could totally see it if it turns out to be that way. This is a card of needing to have patience. And the patience is regarding something that you've been putting effort into. So let's say you started a new business. And you have been doing your part and providing product or providing services, whatever it is. And maybe you've been twiddling your thumbs and wondering if this is even going to work out. This is a card of having patience and kind of gauging the progress of something. Now, with Pentacles, we typically will think of tangible things that you can hold in your hand. So, but it can be relationship oriented as well. If we kind of connect it universally to everything, where you put energy into a relationship, and you're still in kind of like an early stage of it, and you're not quite sure if it's going to actually pan out, but you have high hopes and you are kind of like waiting to see. It's like a wait and see approach, okay? And, you know, maybe there's a little bit of caution in there as well. What crosses you is represented by the Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups is actually a very positive card. It's about, you know, wish fulfillment and having like, you know, this, I was going to say this orgy of indulgence. That can actually be something that you have to avoid, as being overly indulgent, because you may have a lot of abundance. Even though this is a Cups card and we associate it with emotions, it can be something just like something that you've wanted to come true has come true, but you have to be careful that you're not being too indulgent. So let's say you receive some money in this time period. Maybe you've already received some money. Maybe it's from an inheritance, or I'm just like trying to guess. And you may be feeling this sense of, yeah, you know, because Taurus is a sign that likes to have their creature comforts and just likes to indulge from time to time. And, you know, your ruler is Venus, and Venus is about pleasure. So you may be tempted to be overly indulgent about something, and that is causing some kind of threat to a project that you have begun. So maybe it's like with the Nine of Cups in a challenging position, it's too much partying, it's too much like celebration, and that's threatening this venture of yours in some way. Even if it's like a relationship, you may be so happy that you got the person that you have wanted to be with, that you are kind of being a little bit too indulgent, and that is detracting from some of the benefits of having this come true for you. Let's look at the foundation card. We have the Daughter of Wands, which corresponds with the Page of Wands. So this could be like, it's funny that they have this snake, and it even looks like a number 8, which is kind of interesting. But the Page of Wands is about a new lease on life and some kind of a new project or relationship that is very steamy. When I say steamy, there's a sense of passion. So it could be a passionate affair. It could be a new like business that you've started that's really like something you are totally excited about. And so that your excitement is not an issue. The issue is related to the Pentacles, is whether or not you're putting enough thought into the long haul. Maybe you're so excited about something that is in its initial stages. And I'm thinking about, let's say you've gotten divorced or you've left a long-term relationship and you're so relieved that you're just having, you're throwing caution to the wind and you're socializing a lot and you're doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And you've recently launched your own business and you're burning the candle at both ends and you really are neglecting that part of things because of this affair, because of this. And the affair isn't the problem necessarily, it's your reaction to it because you feel like you've been let out of jail or something like that. So, I mean, this is a nice problem. If you're going to have a problem, this is a nice problem to have because a lot of good things may be happening for you right now, Taurus. And remember that Uranus has just entered your sign and will be in Taurus for 7 years. So Uranus is kind of giving you this independence and this sense of liveliness and maybe doing things a little bit in an unorthodox way that is atypical for you. You may just like shock people around you with some of your behavior because it's so atypical for you. But it's that sense of independence that you have now, that sense of turning a corner in your life where you are all about being different and being, having that electricity that is associated with Uranus, that is, kind of like, it's almost like this magnetic aura or something. And that can attract you to some very colorful characters that you wouldn't normally even give the time of day, perhaps. But you're in this phase where you are not doing things the old way. And for Taurus, I think this is a great experience and chance for you to kind of break out of your mold and break out of that rut that can happen with a fixed sign over a period of time when habits kind of get, cemented into place. The spiritual message is the High Priestess, which is a funny thing because the High Priestess is a spiritual card. So a spiritual card for the spiritual placement. And that's kind of a cool, I don't know if that's supposed to be like a crystal ball or something. In terms of this card, I think that it's pretty self-explanatory, but I take it to mean that Taurus people either need to cultivate a spiritual practice or you recently have done so and you're on the right track with that. And also connecting with the unseen world because going within, okay, because Taurus is an earth sign, okay, and you are very much a creature of the senses and you are very at home with material matter, which that's a redundancy because matter is material, but you're very comfortable in the material world by and large. whereas other people may find, other signs may find the material world confining or limiting. You can totally revel in it. And so sometimes you're so earthbound that you neglect your spiritual side. And you can be kind of like the person who becomes a fundamentalist in whatever religion, where you believe certain dogma literally because you like that tangibility. You don't want to theorize. You don't want to delve into symbolism. Now, I'm bracing myself for some comments from Taurians who say, "Oh, I'm not like that. I'm actually very mystical," and blah blah blah. This is total dealing with archetypes, okay? And you know, I have Taurus rising, so I'm, you know, even though I'm a Sagittarian, I really believe that if something is true, it's not going to be complicated. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to be hard to wrap your brain around, because we tend to be stuck in 3D consciousness. So getting past that can be a challenge. But I still think that anything worth knowing can be simply discussed. And you don't have to have these big fancy words and just these out there concepts. I mean, they can be, you know, they're going to be far out, but they're still going to be accessible, I think, if they are really practical. Because ultimately, if we can't use the information, what good is it? Of course, that's my moon in Virgo talking. So anyway, so hopefully some of you are already into a spiritual practice, but definitely that's always a plan. The advice, this is more of a mundane advice. This is one of those cards. I better really check this out. I'm assuming this is a 10 of Wands, because I think if it was swords, it would look more like swords. 10 of Wands as an advice card can be that get ready, because you may be working a lot. And this may be connected to this new endeavor. I'm not sure. But take care that you try to maintain balance, because the 10 of Wands can indicate somebody who burns out. You know, Wands connect with fire energy. You don't want to burn out. You want to pace yourself. And yeah, so there's that. Did you hear me swallow like that? And what's coming in, another Wands. I'm assuming these are all Wands. They look like branches. So this is the 2 of Wands. So there may be a choice coming for you in some area of your life. Maybe, especially with the 2 of Wands, it can even be about relocation, whether you want to stay where you are or whether you want to go someplace else. And you may have reasons for both. This may be related, again, to either your job or your business, that you are looking to, you know, for certain territory that is more conducive. Or even if you are in a relationship with somebody and perhaps you decide that, you know, you may be in a relationship with somebody and you're not really sure that this person is the right one. You may be having a good time with them, but you're not quite sure that they are the one. And I'm saying this because of that 9 of Cups in reverse. So you may have to decide whether you're going to remain in this situation much longer. Maybe that person is getting you to do things that you don't normally do, like drink too much, go out to the bars all the time. And you have kind of put that behind you, but this person's a bad influence in that, with that. So that might be that there's a turning point at this time where you have to make that decision of whether or not you really want to stick around. The outcome is the Knight of Wands. So that's funny because the person that I'm talking about has that personality of the Knight of Wands, actually, where they would be kind of like, I call that the Good Time Charlie card, where they're very fun to be around. They may be very physically appealing to you. You may have a good time with this person, but they're not necessarily a keeper. They're not necessarily going to stick around for the long haul. Now, again, this is fire, fire, fire. We're having a lot of fire here. So we could be talking about an Aries person. I always associate this card with Aries, although it's supposed to be Sagittarius. And definitely with Pisces being... I'm sorry. I was thinking of... why was I thinking of Pisces? Definitely with Taurus, of all the fire signs, it would probably be more like Leo of all signs, because you're both fixed signs. But, you know, the person may have something about them that really appeals to you. Because remember that with some of the personal planets like Venus and Mars, you may have Aries as you know, your Venus might be in Aries, or your Mars might be in Aries, or both, because it's a sign adjacent to you. And that could make you attracted to a fire sign. So that's where things get really interesting, because there's a part of you that really responds to that. But there's another part of you, depending on the bulk of your chart, that may ultimately not really have that much in common with those types of people. And there could be a frustration, because you may feel like there are things that you like about them, but it's not the whole enchilada, so to speak. So I think that with this as the outcome card, it could be even a facet of you that you're not ready to settle down with somebody. And if you're in a job situation, you may just be like, if you're working for somebody else, you may just be throwing caution to the wind, and you're like, you don't even care whether you get fired. You may be kind of like being a little bit careless right now, because you really don't care. You're in a certain mindset, Taurus, where you may be just thinking in terms of your own pleasure, your own whatever. You're just like your freedom. And this may be because something happened that released you from something. So whether that was that you were working for a company for a real long time, and even if you got laid off, it may have been a blessing in disguise, because you may not have liked that job. And so now it's like being like a free agent or a freelancer. And so with the Knight of Wands, you almost, it's like, even if you're like 50 years old, you may feel this sense of youthfulness, because you feel like you have freedom finally. And maybe you are earning money, but you're not necessarily working a 9-to-5 job. I don't know. But it's very interesting. I'm hoping that some of these cards resonate with what's going on with you. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below, Taurus, and you take care of yourself. Bye.